Good morning, students. Welcome to our General Science class. Lesson number 4, Adaptations in Animals. Children, before we go to join in the lesson, we like to discuss a little example about this adaptation. Do you know, millions of years ago, there are certain living beings are lived on our mother planet, that is Earth. These living beings are nothing but dinosaurs. Some of the dinosaurs were herbivores while some of them were carnivores. What are herbivores? The animals that eat only plants are called herbivores, and some of them are carnivores. The animals that eat only flesh of other animals are called carnivores. Nowadays, we are unable to see them directly on our motherland because those were disappeared. Children, do you know where do you think such huge animals are disappeared? Because they became extinct. Every single one of them died because they could not adapt themselves to the changing environment. In other words, when the weather or the environment is changing from day to day, the living organisms which are existing on this motherland or in that particular region should also change their habitat. The habitat is the animal one can live in the areas without getting any trouble to its life is its habitat. We the people can live happily on the plains, of course on the hilly areas and on the islands. So in all these areas we can live because water is available, air is also available. Of course, the land on which we are living there will support to grow our food items on that land. Okay, no? The same way, here is the word adaptation in the name of our lesson. Let us see about adaptation. Adaptation is the phenomena in which organisms change physically to adapt themselves to their habitat and surroundings. Those who cannot adapt die like the dinosaur. So all these living beings or the living creature should adapt in order to run their life. If they were unable to adapt they will die like the dinosaur. Now we are able to see the dinosaurs only in the Discovery Channel or the Planet channels of our TV channels. But we are unable to see direct a dinosaur in a live position right now because all those were died because they did not adapt as other animals were adapted in order to continue their race. Is it clear? We have to change our habitat and our surroundings in order to run our life. Let us see adaptations to environment. Here is a subheading Terrestrial Animals. Let us see how the adaptation is working out for the animals which are terrestrial animals. What is meant by the terrestrial animals? The animals that live on land are called terrestrial animals. Let us take animal dog. A dog is a terrestrial animal because it's living on the land. It can smell, hear, and it can identify if at all any problem is arising in its surroundings and it will run from the places. So it is a one type of adaptation for him or her to save her life. Am I correct? And the animals we already said that live on land are called terrestrial animals. These animals have well developed legs to walk, run, hop, and jump on the land, as I said in the case of dog. They have lungs that help them breathe, because these animals are living on the land, no? They should also breathe in air and breathe out air. That is carbon dioxide. So they should have lungs which help them to breathe. Okay, now students? They have highly developed sense organs that help them sense even the slightest change in their surroundings. Just now we have taken one example, dog. When something is going wrong in its surrounding for the dog, it will identify very, very easily in a short period of time and it will run away from the place. Whenever the natural calamities like any earthquake or any tsunami is going to attack, then this type of animals only will identify easily even before the human beings, and they will go to the safest places. So that is the well developed sense organs are helping them to adapt to themselves. Is it clear for you? Now coming to the another type of animals. Animals like the penguin and the polar bear that live in extremely cold regions. Children, do you know how they are withstand in the very, very cold regions? Because they have a thick layer of fat under their skin called blubber. If a person is with full of fat in his or her body, they will not get any problem with this cold winds or cold weather. The same way, the thick layer of fat under the skins of this penguin and polar bear will help them to keep them warm. Such fat under their skin is called blubber. And in order to escape from this cold weather, the bears hibernate. The meaning of the hibernate is it's a long sleep throughout the winter season, nearly 6 or 5 to 6 months of time. It will be in sleep only in order to escape the harsh cold weather. It is an hibernation. Is it clear? Snakes have scales that help them crawl on the ground. If it is not developed scales, it is unable to crawl and it will also die off. Am I correct? So it is still now it is existing on this motherland or the planet because it is adapting to the changing weather. Then camels, these are also terrestrial animals. Camels have long legs which help them to put their bodies somewhat height on the ground, and there is no problem for the radiation of the heat. So also it is having a hoof. It helps them to walk easily on the loose sand. A camel can live without water for many days in the desert. Whenever there is no water for a camel, it can dissolve its fat which is already stored in its hoof in order to satisfy with the water. It can get water from its dissolved fat. So it happens only when there is no water for it in the desert region. Okay, no? So all these things are happening in the lives of these animals. All these are called adaptations to environment. Are we withstand in the desert region? No, because desert is full of sand, that too a very, very heat condition in the daytime. Same way in the night, very, very cold condition, because sand absorbs the more heat At the same time, sand gets more cool when it comes to night. So in the both the situations, we the people we were unable to withstand. That is why in the desert region, very feeble living conditions are existed. Very few people are living there, not many. Am I correct, students? Yes. Now, coming to the aquatic animals. As the name of these animals are aquatic, these animals live in water only. They are called aquatic animals. Fish, we know fish can live in the water only. Am I correct? And tortoise. A small tortoise, baby tortoise is a toad. All these are able to live in the water. Fish have fins that help them swim in water. If there is no fins, it cannot swim in water and it may die off also. So that is one type of adaptation. Okay, no. Turtles and whales have paddle-like flippers that they use to move forward in water. So paddle-like limbs are there. They will help them to move forward in water because they will push back the water and they will move forward like this. Fish and crabs have gills that help them breathe. So as the terrestrial animals are having lungs in their body to breathe in, the fish have gills like lungs only that help them to breathe. So that is about aquatic animals, and there are other animals called amphibians. The animals that live both on land and in water are called amphibians. Can you guess or can you give an example for the amphibians? Yes, frogs. We all know about frogs. Frogs have limbs with webbed feet that help them swim in water. They breathe through lungs when on land. Also, they breathe through their moist skin when in water. Moist skin. The meaning of the moist skin is when we touch the skin of that frog, it will be very cool. Such a condition it can be. That is called moist skin. Moisture we are saying now and then, moisture. The lands which are fully filled with water for many days, when the water goes away from it, such a land is with full of water in it. For appearing, it is only land is appearing for us, but actually full of water inside the land. Such a very cool condition is existed. That is called moisture. The same way, a moist skin for the frog will help it to breathe in water. When it is on the land, it can breathe through lungs only, like terrestrial animals to breathe in. Is it clear? So finally, we can say amphibians are the animals which can live on land and in water. So it is also one type of adaptation in the life of frog, no? Because frog, if there is any problem on the land, it can go to the water bodies to live there for a while. It can escape from the land to the water. If any problem there in the water only, it will come out immediately from the water bodies and it can move on the land. It is one type of adaptation, so that its race is running or the continuing on this land. Am I correct? So from this we can say adaptations are needed for all types of living creatures. Adaptations are nothing but we have to change our habitat. Change our habitat. In the olden days, we used to live in the villages and where there are many plants or the trees around us and a very good quantity or the quality of the oxygen with us, and there are no problems for our lives too. Am I correct? Nowadays we are not at all living in such villages, and in the name of modernization and development we are moving away from the villages and we are living in the urban cities or the metropolitan cities like Hyderabad and Secunderabad, Kolkata, Bangalore, and all those. See there, full of pollution, but our lungs may be affected, but still we are withstanding with certain extreme high polluted areas. Of course, it may give some problem to our health, but still our body is adjusting or accepting the changes which comes in the weather, and were making us to withstand in certain circumstances. It is also one type of adaptation. That's why the governments were asking us to grow more and more plants in order to come out from the problem of this air pollution. So, we, the responsible citizens of our motherland or our India, we have to grow plants, we have to protect plants, and we should see that it should grow as a big tree, and we will be free from the air pollution too. Am I correct, students? So, this is the one part of the lesson I have taught you about adaptations, and what is adaptation, and how the adaptation is taking place in the terrestrial animals and aquatic animals. Of course, in the amphibians we have learned. In the tomorrow's class we'll go for the other part of this lesson. There we are going to discuss some more parts which we did not discuss today. I hope the lesson what I have taught you with all these examples are very clear for you. Is it easy, students? Now we have to withstand with all these changes around us or in our surroundings. Then only we are able to run our life. It is not only for animals, it is for our all the living creatures. Is it clear? So let us discuss the other part of the lesson in our next meet. Most probably by tomorrow, the remaining half of the lesson we will discuss. Okay, students. Thank you.